Welcome, y'all, to episode 2 of the Ground Crew podcast. So, last episode, my mom called me in the middle of our recording and cut off. So, this time, I'm on airplane mode and do not disturb, and we got cut off on comparing reverse engineered Lockheed Martin craft, so like stuff that our military industrial complex has, versus like what George Kavasilas describes as ET star family benevolent biological starships.
Intelligent craft, yeah.
Yeah.
The craft are like living organic beings.
Yeah, George describes that the three admirals, Jedi admirals of this 3i Atlas craft, that they share DNA with the craft itself. And so because of that, their consciousness is linked and they have telepathy and communication. And he even mentioned the power system was a spiritual agreement with the Blue Star Sirius, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really interesting.
So I think that there are the anti-gravity craft and science and all of that is reverse engineered and that various ETs have. And there's something about a difference between a benevolent AI and what we've got right now, which is not even AI, or that the population is playing with. But the idea of the energy infrastructure behind what's generating the AI or technological intelligence being responsible for where it's going, what it's resulting in, and the fact that all of our energy right now is drawing from the coal out of the ground, the oil, the ripping things apart, all of that creates an AI that has that in the background, which is part of that danger about it. But that there is technological intelligence out in the galaxy and that exists where the technological intelligence is in tune with your soul and your blueprint to the extent that, like, for an example that George is given is like the idea of like a med bed. Everybody's crazy about the med beds, and what I think we would see first are ones where you dial in what you want it to do and rewrite or create, whereas the more advanced technological craft that is soul, when we've got to get more of the spirituality, the soul resonance in it, so that the technological intelligence is harmonized with us, and it will only repair or reorient your blueprint to the nature that's in alignment with your soul journey. And that's what I find fascinating about the distinction between different types of intelligence, different types of craft, and especially in that AI and technology kind of thing is, I think we will see. I think until we see ETs out there in the public discourse, I don't think we're going to see the most benevolent forms of AI and technology. I think we're going to see some fancier tools, the cosmic candy, the craft that are whatever anti-gravity, whatever plea bargaining of technology that's available in comparison to how much actually exists. Which will seem very cool and very sparkly, but I don't think it's going to be the full extent. And that's what that's what I gravitate to about with the technology, the AI, and the craftsmanship. The craftsmanship.
Yeah, one of my favorite things George talked about was the medbed that he had experienced on one of the ships that he was on. And in the program that he's in, I believe it's like a subset of Solar Warden, is what he mentioned, that this medbed was actually alive and biological. Like, I think he said it felt like it was a soft material and it was actually alive somehow. And then it's like
all smooth was another thing. It's smooth and seamless. The transition, just think about no seams and rivets and nuts and bolts, and the idea of something that's seamless and flowing, like that organic seamless nature. Liquid metal. The liquid metal stuff that science don't understand quite yet.
Yeah, and he was saying, like, let's say you sat or you lie down in this medbed and you ask, turn me into a super soldier. Basically, the medbed, he said, have the ability to consult with your higher self and see if that's actually part of your mission or agreement with Gaia. Is like, is that actually what you're here to do? If it is, it'll just do it. Otherwise, it won't do a thing. And so in that way, because the technology is alive and conscious like human beings, that is actually, it's a safeguard to prevent people from, misusing it, which is a common argument for we can't have free energy or over unity devices because we'll turn it into weapons. But the truth is we've already weaponized it. It's those who've weaponized it slow down the progress of, the public energy sector and whatnot. Nuno Ludido, I believe it's pronounced, just passed away, and he was working on fusion energy research at MIT. And that's just one in the long line of free energy researchers or engineers who have died suddenly, or offed themselves or had a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff been happening forever. That is part of whoever is in control of authoring what is publicly allowed, so to speak. I mean, I think we're going to see new technology. Let's talk this year, 2026. I think we got new technology coming, new information, some corrections about science and history and politics, and some stuff that's been hidden is coming out, and it results with new technology, a new orientation to politics, new economic, ecological, commerce, all of that. I think is just where we'll see before the ET part of the equation, and what kind of energy and technology we get before free energy, and how they get us to a point of free energy and on opening this door wider for humanity is fascinating. And there's been a lot of gatekeepers that have wanted to make sure certain doors stay shut with what is happening. That's why the most fascinating part of all of this is happening is about the psyche from where I see. I know the science is part of it, and we're starting to get to like science and magic or spirituality, holding hands and merging and all of that. But the whole idea of what is happening with the human psyche, which is the soul and like the soul development aspect of humanity, that's profound. And there's as much as the technology will open doors for people to do more stuff and access more techniques and fly around or whatever, that stuff, the psyche part of the soul evolution and just like that inner within journey and that Christ soul or conscious or whatever, that stuff is I think where the real sovereignty and freedom and truth and everything is. And as everybody's psyche and soul is opening, the narrative and the authors and the gatekeepers that have been locking science up have also been creating a certain gridlock in the thinking around subjects of spirituality and religion and all of those dogmas that are going to get reoriented. Like, what are we going to do in the Vatican, y'all? But so all of the religious aspects and the way that people think about spirituality changes and coincides with how they change and think about science. But the same, that gatekeeping to what we can know with science or what kind of fusion or technology we can access, I think there's a parallel to what story we have been able to know about star visitors, angels, Egyptian gods and goddesses, all of those things, and how they all interrelate and interconnect. All of that stuff is under a similar umbrella. So, very interesting year ahead, you guys. What's popping to y'all for this year?
Yeah, well, we have Chris Bledsoe's Easter 2026 prediction.
I gotta say, it's not even just his prediction. There's so much stuff, even within our government and within the whole world, that's going to be happening by March.
Yeah, the months that I have heard specifically, it's so funny. It's like a news broadcast for like the script of future governing. But I've heard March is a big time, and I think these things have government's involvements or powers involvement, but also like solar and galactic alignments and things like that, the coinciding. And then June, the summer, something about summer and March, the spring, March, April, sun. That's the Easter that is Chris Bledsoe. The summer, I was talking with Alex earlier, like that Spielberg movie. There's a movie that comes out in 2026 that is Day of Disclosure. And we just saw and they released the documentary Age of Disclosure, like November. And so those two things so close together, one of them being a nonfiction documentary about all the government involvement and what we know about ETs and UFOs and all of that in the research. And then this movie that's supposed to come out is definitely doing something for consciousness. Everybody's thinking about it. Three Eye Atlas just passed by yesterday, and like they were talking about it in the sauna, and like 100, it didn't do anything. It's not doing, is it it's all the buzz is still there, and it is still whatever it is doing, whatever it's doing. We talked about that last time some. But the idea, the Spielberg the Spielberg movie, this fiction, the cinema, Disclosure Day. I think there aren't any plans. I'm sad because I don't feel like there are any plans to tell us anything about ETs or UFOs as real until after that gets seeded into consciousness. Like that has the support of official releases and all the things, like all the other seedy things that have been seeded. And so they'd like to get that injected into the consciousness to sway a certain way of thinking about it new. It's still going to be on the pathway of getting ET closer to God and all of the religious stuff that's got to go in with it. But I think we'll focus more on a political cleaning house, realignment of what politics and money is, and new technology, new toys that we've probably honestly gotten from ET contact and involvement, but will be pitched as things that we've just discovered. But I think a lot of new technology that they can start to get us playing with, that will start to get us used to the frequencies that are changing. I think they do want to raise the frequency. I will give them that. It is time to raise the frequency, and I really think we're going from the dark side of the God Matrix to the light side of the God Matrix, which is still a great fair deal. But it's the raising of the vibrations is just to get us into a bigger playpen, that 5D realm of openness and everything. So raising the vibration so that we can interact with higher forms of AI and conscious, like we're under such a screened umbrella of 3D garbage, and the airspace is
flooded. Like George says, our technology is inherently parasitic. The kind of technology it extracts more than it gives or regenerates.
Yep.
It's kind of like, industrial farming versus regenerative farming. So if you're using a regenerative technology,
yes.
For example, these technologies that are grown and are alive and...
Oh my gosh, it's almost like the government is going organic, you guys.
Yeah.
Like that's the metaphor. It's like they've been okay keeping everybody corralled and controlled with their pesticides and their poisons and their negative frequencies. And now we're
even the talk with creating 3 states or whatever, it's just opening a global playpen.
And you're talking
that's as close as they can get it in one jump.
And it's still introducing a monetary system.
It's a plea bargain, and it's a step.
It's a horrible deal.
It's horrible.
So we're
not a good deal.
I'm going to tell the audience, we're talking about Stuart Swerdlow's recent webinar with Michael Sala, and he describes that
the world is about to be the only one.
Yeah, there's other people. But he's saying
but this just still falls straight into the cabal.
The world is going to be grouped into 3
one
super
world
states.
Government. No one will take a one world government. How do we get closer to a step to one world government?
Think of it like this.
3 nation states.
It's 3 big shepherds over one big herd.
Everybody still has some autonomy.
And so he was saying America, China, and Russia would be the 3 super states.
Yeah, on the political landscape. But I always bring it up, as much as people can get bent out of shape about the politics to it all.
The 3 countries that want to war each other all the time are going to be the heads.
I think it's a new script. The script has been a war script
Look,
for so long.
We're
and now
already
it's a
all
peace script.
three of us are the world police. Okay? That's Russia, China, and us.
But
if there's conflicts anywhere with inside regions, they're the UN's go-to security forces.
Yeah. So they make the best candidates.
So why did we just made a show? We just made a show of our allies, who have been our allies since World War II, since World War I, since before. They've always been our allies. When we create a false state of enemyness,
It's just
to return to, there's going to be 3 states all run by the 3 people who hate each other. Right?
But there will be a unification. I really think that they will use something about the ET aspect to unify.
Feel like we're already unified to a greater point than what they're trying to put onto paper now.
We are.
And I feel that this step is just a stupid step of, it's like a fake show of we're making progress, right?
It is.
For somebody else watching.
But we have to appreciate
it has absolutely nothing to do with anything. It's far worse than what they are.
There's a narrative, a specific script, and a narrative being run by, the Collins Elite.
I don't know. I don't like to name names. I like to call it the authorities because that word has author in it. It's the authors to the scripts, and it's all been. But the thing is,
they're all interjecting their own opinions.
But this is we can say this is stupid shell of a thing. It's not the real deal and all this, but it's a step in the right direction, and it's a script improvement from dystopia to utopia. And the funny thing is that we've always been under a script, and all the religious texts are star-inspired scripts that have been corralling us anyway, and even taking our 3 political poles and putting them together to shepherd us, they answer to much bigger things.
They're still going to answer to the one world government. But they already don't answer to this one world government as it is, okay? That's what I was saying is the funny joke about this is they're just making it look like we're progressing, but there's no progression. It's just the same shit in a different package.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would argue, I guess, I'm trying to, give them a little bit.
Well, it's the script to...
Some progress. There is. I mean, it's...
They need a reason to roll out...
Is it on a loop and a cycle? Is it progress or is it a wheel? Okay.
They need a reason to roll out the new technologies and creep it into society in such a slow manner that people don't realize it's happening and it becomes normalized.
But that doesn't fit the timeline for any of this shit. And including what they've already been told as a timeline for their disclosure, it doesn't allow you to have this soft. We're beyond that point. But they've been soft disclosing since the fucking 60s. You know what I mean? Before that, maybe.
Think about this. If there's pressure, if there's ET pressure for whatever reasons to disclose, and there's political pressure down here to disclose someone, I think it's all a chain of kicking the can, and nobody wants to disclose everything, because by disclosing everything, it's too much. It's too much all at once. It's got too many sides, whatever it is. But the can keeps getting kicked until there's an event outside all politic structure. All ET Galactic Federation, all deep state government, whatever, all political structure, which means something that involves the consciousness of a planet or a star. So at some point, I think the ETs anticipate some Earth changes and anticipate changes in the stars.
I think much like Robert Monroe was talking about, is that they know about this.
They know something's coming.
Because all the spaceships, all the visible, non-visible crafts that are all around the Earth are all coming here to this point in time to observe or be a part of something. Yes. And it's this is known not only just from him, but let's say Casey also talked about these types of things, generations before generations, even the Hopi Indians. There's been a resounding, hey, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's our government systems, or those in the authority,
and some of us
are now panicking because it's becoming a reality faster than they expected it to become a reality.
Well, it's been
so now trying to smash it all together to come into, we need to be here. there is no soft disclosure. You see what I'm saying? It's going to take drastic changes.
But the drastic changes are outside their hands, I think. I mean, I'm not saying this. I mean,
yes.
solar flash is the metaphor.
But so, even restructuring currency and everything like that. Well, yeah, it's going to have to happen because it's going to dismantle an entire current way of life. Even if we made the simple change to hydrogen power to everything tomorrow,
that would be big.
It would be huge. You realize the massive impacts of everyday life that would change. Oil prices going down, that would just be money going into something else.
Yeah.
Which means there's immediate wealth generated from everyone involved.
It's going to be a glowing moment at some point.
Seems to me, when it comes down to the governments and all their fucking great regulations, they're still protecting these corporate entities.
And I understand that the corporate entities
are about to dissolve.
But the corporate entities have been involved with corporate business off planet. That's the pickle to.
If everything goes back to being gold backed, for instance, right? If everything goes back to being
that's not really real anymore, but it's supposed to. But we all know that that's not happening.
There hasn't been gold in Fort Knox for a very long time. Okay.
Yeah.
It was shortly after World War.
So the gold back thing, I mean, it's an energetic sham.
Yes, because you have fiat money. You're putting your money's only as valuable as your faith in it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then why is something
because
valuable?
They want you to put your faith in it. They don't want it to actually be valuable. That's the difference. Is we have value.
We've been putting our value in something that's fake in certain layers.
So you're devaluing yourself. You're putting, if you're getting paid by that money or any of that, you're devaluing.
I'd argue, this gets really weird and deep, but I'd argue that that's what humans have been taught to do indefinitely. And for the whole script with humans is to get you to devalue yourself so that you worship something above you.
Yeah.
And so all of this new currency, even when we get a new digital
going back to gold, gold's gonna be our valuable thing here.
Gold has its properties there is a real tangible asset and spiritual metaphor to gold and all the metals and all those things.
It's also used for elemental technology. Nature. It's also used for lots of
stuff. But if you just think about going from like a paper money or one substance to another to a digital currency or whatever, I think about going to a digital currency as getting closer to the idea of a frequency and energy exchange, which does seem to be a little bit closer to real, but they're all fabrications.
So all fabrications. Into Star Trek, for instance, once you've gotten technology to a point where free energy and a device just makes whatever food you fucking need. There's no need for money anymore. So if we're advancing to this point, why would we give a shit about structuring new currency? Unless just putting you into a new cage and giving you some more paper money to play with.
It is, but it's almost like...
So you graduated from the playpen at the shitty little kids.
It's because the level of trauma runs too deep. There's some animals. If the world is a cage, there's some animals in the cage that have been in cells full of shit without being fed for a long time, and it's too big of a jump for them to go from that extreme of not having that worthlessness to the idea of you can have whatever you want any minute, and so they've got to size up a story that makes that swallowable so they can digest it, because their stomachs don't know how to digest that frequency shift, because there's so much suppression. I think it's, could we do it instantly? I think we will see how fast we can hokey pokey when a star does something, when the earth does something that's natural, that slips the skirt up faster than they wanted to unveil. When the curtain comes up faster, that's where we'll get the real disclosure. But they're going to try and lead the frequencies up for everybody because they know we're going in that direction. It's ascending. So we've got to get it ascending too, even though we want it to go in the way so that when that flash happens, we can harvest as much into...
This is like you've known that this was coming. Okay, let's say This is procrastination 101. I love procrastinating. It's my favorite thing to do.
It is,
okay?
But they're just
so like this is exactly it. Like they're in the 60s. They're like, by 2025, you got to fucking have full disclosure. And they're like,
it's all this.
Yeah, that's years away, man.
We'll do it.
We got time. It's 2012, and like there's this giant, like everyone's like, oh, what about the Mayan calendar? Like there's this great opportunity to start dropping shit.
But everybody,
and they're just
they're like, oh, we really need to
nope.
speak this up.
Then you finally find they're like, everyone's like, I'm pretty sure aliens are real. And then you're like, aliens are real, and we're starting Space Force, and that's all we get on that. You know what I mean? Like that's all. Yeah, and you're like, wait, what? Like, shouldn't have that been life changing to everyone? But it wasn't. See, this is what I'm saying about if we're taking a fucking thermometer reading right now, we're still at room temp with this fucking news. Even Disclosure, the Age of Disclosure movie.
Oh yeah, it's not
room
nothing's
temp,
massive. Nothing's gonna be
we're,
massive.
The pot's already boiling. We're like the frogs who've been sitting in there for way too long. We're coming to the boiling point where we're about to be cooked.
Metaphorically, and maybe in other ways, but it's
well, I mean, it's either you sink or you swim at this fucking point.
Yeah.
Well, there are a ton of engineers, citizen scientists, and people just building cool technology in their backyards, like Malcolm Bendel's thunderstorm generator. You also have Paul Pantone's heat reactor, and people have built these themselves in their backyards. There's videos all over YouTube. You can just type in thunderstorm generator demo or thunderstorm generator, and there's people rebuilding it, getting a reduced CO2 and oxygen emissions, and they'll even there's a guy doing a side-by-side control test. I'll put these links in the description below. You can check them out. So this is real, like, citizen science happening with a technology that could potentially increase our fuel efficiency while cleaning up the emissions. And on top of that, it's actually releasing oxygen, higher levels of oxygen that match what we should have in our atmosphere, to the point where some people have breathed the exhaust of this thunderstorm generator. So, yeah, I think like Stuart Swerdlow says, we're going from, solar to hydrogen, and that'll be the next step.
Okay.
I mean, solar's never been plausible for technology.
Yeah, people can't afford it. We already have a gas, coal, oil infrastructure, so retrofitting it is the perfect thing. Maybe I'll pause it here. Just keep going. Oh.
That's just mail.
Probably.
I think I got mail.
But yeah, so, yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of other technologies as well. There's also McCain-Lee's. It's a transmutation device. It is the quantum kinetic well, so check them out on Quantum Kinetics Corporation. I'll drop that link as well. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of technologies being worked on. So that's my hope and passion, is we building the technologies to save ourselves. So I think it's happening.
Yeah. I think there's a lot more information that will be released about that that's going to create those just the simple little ones that we got going with, like a geat reactor or a thunderstorm generator. They're going to look like children's toys.
I think that the scale of technology that exists, that some people know about, that just exists, it's so far beyond anything that any of these civilian scientists and everybody that's on the grassroots is coming up with all sorts of stuff, but everything that's going to come up with is kind of like children's toys compared to what will be possible when the sciences that we're working with, the materials that we're working with, all the information that isn't secondhand stepped on. It's not like it's almost like we know about quantum now, and before that it was Newtonian physics, and Newtonian physics was the law, but we now know that, like, hey, there's situations where Newtonian doesn't work. I think it's the same kind of Renaissance-y shift where even the most advanced technology that we are seeing is working from a level and layer of science that is below, is unveiled, or is veiled. Okay. And there's an unveiled layer of science that makes
then being
everything exponentially more profound. So I'm just really, I do think this year, I mean, my big astrological bit about this year, and there's a lot I've talked about for that, but Uranus going into Gemini, and this also goes into one of those people on Dr. Salas cast that was talking about the media taking a big hit this year or whatever, and like mainstream media and everything centralized, like not being about what this year is as we go into this fire horse and all that jazz. But the media, if you were to file that in a zodiac category, all of your media and your mail and your messages is Gemini. And that is where Uranus is. And Uranus is going there, and Uranus is the awakener. It is the liberator. It's the electric spontaneous agent of quickening that you cannot keep in a bottle. And so there is a blurting out and a freedom and all of these things happening in Gemini's realm that's going to unlock. If it's been locked down, this agent will set it free. And so there's all sorts of free information. That's why I say free energy too, but the free information, transport, communication, all of that is going, I mean, is freeing up, freeing in, freeing all that stuff is tied into that thing. So I do think we will see a lot of new information, a lot of science and technology that is new or newly released, and a lot of deceptions or things that have been false or lies that are like almost like a clown honk, like, ah, like getting called out, or the skirt flipping up, or something that exposes something in an absurd or even sometimes comical reversal of drama or whatnot. And we can also point out that Trump is a Gemini with Sun conjunct Uranus in Gemini. And so as Uranus goes through Gemini, he's up with his Uranus return. So I think this is a lot of whatever his soul's magnum opus is for the end of, the show, as far as whatever he's here to do. And I definitely think he is. So many people said he's a disclosure president. We'll see. We'll see what what his hand looks like in all of this. But all the characters on the stage are at different levels of authority in a much bigger fishbowl that's got galactic empire hierarchy implications under God, so to speak. So it will be fun to see. It'll be fun to see how God decides to play this one out, y'all. God's been making crazy moves these days, flipping it. But I'm here for some. I'm here for some love and light. We've had plenty of dark and deep.
Well, and hopefully this just activates the crystals' remembrance on the earth.
Yes.
And those of us who have had experience to remember will fully remember.
Yes.
And be like, oh, y'all are fucking up.
I think the memory stuff is going to clear. I don't think they want us to remember everything because we are still this like human commodity. Like I really do think the humans are so advanced.
I don't think that they have a choice. I don't think they have a choice.
That you have to choose it. You have to choose your suppression, which means you have to see the game enough to decide between, do I want a promotion in this hierarchy, or do I want to retire?
We're going to have this glimpse of what it is and what it could be, and then there's a choice. I said this before. There's a choice for everyone. You can either just bury your head back in the fucking sand and follow along, or you can make the choice to step out of that.
Yeah. And some people will choose the sand.
Most people will choose the sand.
But I think
they'll end up on an arc in space.
You guys got a YouTube drowning giraffe in quicksand. It's a funny Adult Swim thing. But yeah.
I'm stoked about it. I really am. It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah, I think remembrance of who we are collectively as humanity, I think that is the real solutions to go within and not without. And we have to heal ourselves, and then by healing ourselves, we heal our environment. I think that's a good way to end the podcast.
Oh, well, it has been fun talking about weird stuff again with you guys.
Yeah. So, yeah. Peace and love, y'all. We'll see you on episode 3.
Happy holiday.